Hi there everybody, it's Andy again here from Andy's Beer Reviews. Something a little bit different in this video. I was talking to some American friends of mine who were over and they got a little bit confused about English bitters, English beers. So I just wanted to put something together which just really explain to our American friends and anybody European, anybody who comes over who's used to lager and lagers, to understand a little bit more about British beer, I suppose, really, and the kind of the styles of it. This isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's I'm not going to go into a massive amount of detail. I just really wanted to break it down a little bit into what a British beer was and what to expect from it. When we talk about British beer, we mean ale. Sometimes we can talk about a beer and it gets confused with lager. So sometimes if you think about an ale, that's what a British beer is. Now, unlike lager, which is best served cold, British beer is best served at room temperature or cellar temperatures, if you want. So anything that's been kept in a cool cellar or cool place, that's the best temperature for it. Basically, what we want with the beer is no condensation on the side of the glass. That's what we want. It brings out the flavour more in the beer. Imagine how you might drink a red wine, and that's usually at room temperature. Then the same's for beer. Ale, isn't fizzy. It shouldn't be fizzy. There's a second fermentation process that goes on in the barrels or the cask or however it's brewed, and that generates a natural bubbles, and kind of that's what we're looking for. And when people talk about real ale, that's kind of what they mean. Second fermentation has happened in a cask or a barrel, and it's created its own CO2, and that's what creates the bubbles. And it's all natural, it's all real. Now, there is a wide variety of British beers. So this is just going to be a very general overview. I'm ignoring IPAs. We invented IPAs in England, but the rest of the world has really taken off with that, and every country has its own IPA, and particularly America, you've done some great work with IPAs, so I'm not going to cover IPAs off. We're going to start with a pale list. So if you're used to lager and you want to try a British beer or ale, then golden beer or amber beers are probably the best one to start off with. They look a little bit lagery. Can be that sort of pale straw to amber colour, so you're probably more used to it. ABV wise, probably somewhere typically between 4 and 4.5%. So you're looking at Timothy Taylor's do a good one. Timothy Taylor's Lanlord is a good one to try. Brew called Wainwright's do some really good golden or amber ales. Hobgoblin Gold is a good one to try. And Fuller's London Pride is also a nice, what we'd call a golden or amber ale as well. So that's golden beers. The next one is bitter. Now, bitters tend to be a little bit darker than your amber ales or your golden ales. So a little bit darker in colour. The light hoppy, a bit of maltiness comes through as well. To just see a small bitter, malty kick. ABV for a bitter is somewhere between 3.5 and 4.5%. They're light and refreshing. That's what they're designed to be. They're designed to be light and refreshing, like a session beer. For these, if you look at anything like Young's Bitter, they do good ones. Boddington's, if you're out and about in pubs, you'll find those guys. Timothy Taylor also do one called the Bolt Maker. That's a really nice bitter as well if you want to try that. If you want to get a bit darker, a bit more flavoursome, then we have something called a Best Bitter. The light bitters, just more so. So the more robust, they can be a little bit stronger and a little bit more of a malty kick to them. These tend to be typically between 4 and 5.5% ABV. If you look at people like Black Sheep do a nice Best Bitter. Courage as well do some nice best bitters as well. So it's like a bitter, just a little bit more, a little bit stronger. So that's golden ale, bitter, best bitter. You then get on to like your brown ales. These are typically between 3.5% and 4.5%. So still session beers. Remember, these were all invented for and made for the working class. So you could unwind after a shift, after work, and just drink a few and not feel intoxicated by it. So they do tend to be lower ABVs. Not all the time, but sometimes. So your brown ales tend to be a bit smoother, a bit sweeter, but still bitter. If you look at they've not been aged. They're a young beer. Your brown ales, so they've not been aged in barrels or casks or anything like that. They're younger. They're meant to be drunk younger. Everybody seems to know Newcastle Brown Ale. That's a typically good example of this sort of beer. One step up. I will talk about this one step up because it's one of my favourites. Is a darker bitter. In Scotland, they call it a wee heavy, and I've only mentioned it because McEwan's Champion is one of my favourite beers, and that's in that category, and I've only mentioned it because of that. So wee heavies, they get called, and they are just a heavier, more premium bitter. Stouts and porters next on our little final category. So these are black. These tend to be really bitter. They're made from roasted barley, and that roast flavour really comes through. But they can also be quite creamy and sweet as well. And they tend to be between 4 and 8 ABV. Everybody knows Guinness, and Guinness is the best example of it. But again, one of my favourite beers is St. Peter's Plum Porter, which is absolutely gorgeous. And if you want to try a porter, that's a really nice one to try as well. So that's it. I just wanted to put this quick tour together of British beers just to help people out who are confused or coming over to this country and didn't really know what to order or what to expect or how it should be served. That, in a nutshell, is what British beers are all about. Okay, I'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.